Hello, this is Ken Bottacher, also known as Bad Ken on the BattleForge forums and Karch in the game. A lot of people say that the Play4Free version of BattleForge isn't the real version of the game, that you can't really experience all of the content. And while it's true that some of the more complicated multiplayer PvE maps and higher levels of PvP require you to buy cards and upgrade them, I'm pretty sure that you can finish all the single-player PvE maps, even up through expert difficulty, with just the cards that come with the game. So that's what I'm doing here. This is Siege of Hope, which is one of the harder single-player PvE maps, and I'm using my Freebie deck, which is made up of cards that you only get with the Play4Free version, and none of them are upgraded. So we start here with a pretty typical start, a couple of Windweavers, and now normally I would have a Shaman with the Windweavers, but since there's no healing, there's no Shaman in the Play4Free deck, I brought in some Werebeasts instead, and they're going to help with the killing, and since they regenerate, it's, kind of like having healing there. Don't really need to heal the Windweavers because I'm going to send them right off to the Western Enclave when I'm done with them here, and they're going to heal up around the power walls that get built up there. These guys can finish off the starting area in no time, and I'm going to build up a couple of power walls there, and then as soon as the Werebeasts are healed, I'm going to send them around through the crowd in the center and head up to the northern base. The Windweavers are going to head along the west side to the Western Enclave. So all it takes to get these Werebeasts past this huge mob is one Surge of Light spell at the right time, and you can see they're in pretty good shape there. And the Windweavers are going to go by and pick up the gold that's just outside the Western Enclave, and they're going to position themselves just inside the Western Enclave so that they can help with defense. If the Windweavers are helping, that means that the defenders that are there in the towers will take less damage, and they'll be able to help more when the big force comes later. Now I'm building my second orb. It's going to be a fire orb, and I'm going to use that to build a Firestalker, which I'm going to send to the southeast base. The Werebeasts are heading off to the north base now that the Firestalker is built, and he's just going to walk right through that pool of fire. He's a medium-sized unit, so he can make it, and the Werebeasts are going to park out up in the north there until I have enough power to build a power well next to them. I'm also waiting here until I have enough power to build a power well next to the Firestalker. I've already built one power well on the western side. And then when the power well is built, I send the Firestalker just outside, and I just use him to take out this tower. No particular reason other than otherwise he'd just be sitting there all lonely doing nothing, and I would feel bad for him. So you see that the Windweavers were able to help take out the patrol that came in there very quickly. The Firestalker is able to take that tower all by his little self there, and he's just going to wait by the walls until after I have built up my defending force. Then, because right now I want to use all of my power for building up the defending force, and after that's taken care of, then I'll build up the defenses in the north and south when I really need them. So I build 3 power wells. I build power wells until I have 3 of them here, and then I start bringing in Firestalkers. I'm going to bring in some Rage Claws, and I'm also going to put a Primal Defender just inside there just to help out a little bit. That also gives the invading force something to pay attention to, so they will attack the tower. Some of them will attack the tower instead of attacking units, which gives me more time to kill them. I tried to focus the Rage Claws on the crawler creatures, and I used this quick Surge of Light there to make them last a little longer, but they didn't really last very long. What's really doing the damage here is the 3 Firestalkers that I have. The Windweavers do okay damage too, but the Firestalkers really do the bulk of the damage, and the Defenders, because the Defenders were had plenty of health left after my Windweavers helped them. So in the south I build up walls and a Primal Defender. I put a Primal Defender by the second orb, and that's important because if you don't put some kind of defense there, there's more attackers that come through there later, and they'll just skip right past that second orb and go to your first orb, and they'll do that while you're fighting somewhere else, and it's distracting and it's a pain to defend it. So all you really have to do is put up a tower by that second orb, and that'll take care of it. I put up Windweavers on the walls in the north and in the south, east, and then when the Lyrish defenders come through here, I basically help them with spells and with a few units that I summoned in, some more werebeasts and another unit of Rage Claws, and I use the healing spell on them to make it last a little longer, but they're not really intended to survive. They're just mostly to kill off this first group. Looks like the Rage Claws did in fact make it through though, which is good. More power to take out these middle bases. I want to move into the third orb here as quickly as I can and build it up, because I'm going to need 3 orbs to build Swamp Drakes and Magma Hurlers. The Swamp Drakes are the best defense against these XL units like the Twilight Hulk, and the Magma Hurlers are a good general purpose defending force. They do really good damage, and they do splash damage as well, so they're good against groups of attacking units. There's my first Swamp Drake, and you'll notice that I parked him up above the houses in an area where it's hard for the Twilight Hulk to get at him. Otherwise the Twilight Hulk would just swat him out of the sky. I can't really use towers effectively to defend up in the north there, because the towers that you get with the Play4Free cards are just too weak. Now you'll notice that the middle group has successfully finished off all of the Twilight infestations there, and they're going to move right up the middle to the 4th orb. I am putting in a few towers here. There's actually, you can create a little bit of a killing zone with some Stones of Torment and Primal Defenders, and what happens is that some of the beasts will get sucked in with the Stones of Torment, and then the Primal Defenders will be able to beat on them while they're attacking the Stones of Torment. The only downside is that sometimes the Twilight Hulk also gets zapped in, and he can one-shot those towers. They're only Era 2 towers, Era 2 and Era 1 towers, so they don't last very long. In the middle, by where the 4th orb is about to be built up, I've brought in a Swamp Drake and a Magma Hurler to support, and I threw in a healing spell or 2 there, mainly to just let the Era 1 and 2 units last a little bit. Actually, the Swamp Drake and the Magma Hurler can pretty much hold that area on their own against anything that's going to come in there until we're done defending the north and south. So the Primal Defenders are providing a little bit of... looks like something got by my middle force and is attacking this 3rd orb there, but it's a very small group, so I'm going to just ignore it, because at this point I have the area in the center cleaned up and defended by my center forces. And you see the Swamp Drake is doing just fine in the south there, defending against the Twilight Hulk and the other units that come in. And I have my 4th orb now, so I have to it's time to bring in a Giant Worm. The Giant Worm only has a large attack. It doesn't have an XL attack like the Swamp Drake, but its attack is very strong. So the combination of the Swamp Drake with its bonus against XL creatures, and the Giant Worm with its extra strength, its extra health, and its strong attack will be really good for defending the north there. In the center, I just toss a heal on my Swamp Drake and Magma Hurler when I can. They're doing a good job of defending just by themselves. And I'm rebuilding these towers when I have time, but actually I don't get much time in between waves here. So my strongest defense really is to put up a regrowth spell that does a huge amount of healing, and you gotta lay it down before the Twilight Dragon starts attacking, or his anti-magic attack will prevent you from healing your units. I also cast a couple of the shadow spells to buff up the Giant Worm there. I cast Unholy Power and Unholy Hero, and that really increases his attack strength an enormous amount. It enables him to survive one-on-one against those Twilight Dragons. Otherwise, the Twilight Dragons would kill them and have plenty of health left to basically ravage the rest of the base. Notice I'm also starting to bring in Tempests. Tempests actually kind of take the place of towers in the Play4Free deck. They're stationary units, you have to be stationary when they attack, but they have a really strong attack and a good range. So if you can get a lot of Tempests up, defending towards the end of this phase of the map, they do a really good job of holding things off. Now, I lost the wall in the middle there in the north camp, and that would normally be a death sentence, because you usually need the walls to hold off the attackers for at least a little while to let you get some damage in before they start beating on your units. There aren't very many towers left here. It's kind of getting close. The attackers were able to kill off most of my ground units there. I have a Tempest and drones left. Drones are kind of hiding in the background there. There's nothing much I could do against the dragon. And in the south, my Tempest is just pounding away on the Twilight Abomination and the Twilight Hulk. But they're busted through the wall really quick, and they aren't taking a whole lot of damage. So my answer there is to just spam units. I summoned in as many units as I could to give these guys targets, so that what was left of the towers and the defending units could do damage to them and give me a chance to summon in another Swamp Drake, which will really finish them off. But if you see there, it's a very close thing. They were both just about to kill the last defender in the south. So I have to quickly rebuild my defenses there, and another attack in the north that is just barely able to hold off because that wall is still down. But I was able to bring in another giant worm. And again, in the north now, because I don't have the wall available to me, it's timed out, I'm going to have to just spam units up there. I'm going to summon as many units as I can, give the invaders as many targets as I can, and now the defending forces are back, so that will help me out a lot. But it's still no guarantee of hanging in there. I dropped a lava field spell. I'm still using my regrowth to keep my dragons up. And you see all the defenders in the north were just flattened. I'm only left with one wounded unit of Rage Claws and one giant worm up there. And in the south I was only left with a couple things too. But that's it for the attacks on the north and the south, and I've survived the hardest part of the map. Defending the north and the south here is definitely the hardest part of the map, because you have to do both at the same time. You have to be building up defenses, you have to have enough power, and you have to manage the power as to which defenses you are building where, and make sure that you have enough force to meet the increasingly powerful attackers. So I barely made it through in the south, and I just made it through in the north, and now I'm going to take my southern units and bring them up to the middle. I've already taken my northern units into the middle, setting up some Tempests for defense, and now it's time to summon in the Great Giant Worm Air Force. And the Great Giant Worm Air Force is going to go run around the outskirts of the final boss area here and take out as much of the defenses as it can before I bring in the final attack. In the south I also, just for completeness sake, I killed off the last few towers and gave myself a couple more power wells down there before I brought the southern forces up north. But now everybody is in the middle, everybody's all together. And about the most challenging thing I have to deal with from here on out is the summoning timeout. Because I've summoned all of these units up to their limit, just in defending the north and south, I have to... Oh yeah, there's one other thing I have to worry about. Those stupid Twilight Leeches. Those Twilight Leeches teleport units around, and I don't even remember this from the last time I did it, but they do a chain teleport. So like, one Twilight Leech will teleport a dragon over to one side of the map, and then another one in the middle will zap it to the middle, and then another one over by the boss will zap it by the boss, and you completely lose track of where your units have been teleported to, and they tend to die really easily. So I had to keep a really sharp eye on my Great Giant Worm Air Force here to make sure that they weren't getting teleported off, and it also slowed down my harassing attacks a whole lot, because I ended up having to... see that guy got chain teleported there? Fortunately he was able to escape. I ended up having to retreat that whole group every time one or two of them got teleported. Also periodically here I'm casting a regrowth spell in the center of the map and letting my ground units go at it with whoever tends to move forward. Sometimes the units in the center will come forward a little bit. And I usually lose most of my ground forces when I do that, but it's not really a big deal because I have a little bit of time now before my Great Giant Worm Air Force is able to take care of the defenses enough that I can do my final attack. So I have time to rebuild all of those ground units one at a time, even despite the timeout. Here I had to use the dragons to defend the fourth orb from a few units because I had lost all my ground units. But you see I summoned them all right away quickly. Drones, Ember Strike, Tempest, Rifle Cultists, and looks like I got a Magma Spore there too, and a Magma Roar. And that little group there, that little ground group, is plenty to defend the center of the map from the patrols that come through. The dragons are taking care of the bombards. But sure enough, one of them gets zapped away by a Twilight Leech, chain teleported, but he escaped. He was chain teleported right over the boss that time, but he did get away. Another regrowth spell is down, so I'm going to do another little bit of fighting in the middle. Lose a few units, but they almost always take out more than I lose. So it's a good thing, and I'm trying to focus my flying units on those annoying Twilight Leeches as much as possible. There they are. There's like a group of 3 of them right there, and look at that. They're zapping that giant worm in between themselves, and he didn't even survive. I was trying to get him away, and they were just like zap, zap, zap all between each 3 of them. Very annoying. I hate those things. Anyway, I'm resummoning my ground forces again, and I'm trying to build up my Great Giant Worm Air Force one more time for a couple more passes before I go in on the boss. There's only a few more towers left at this point, so someone actually in the forums who watched this replay suggested that I should have used Rifle Cultists to take out some of the defenses on the edges, and they're right. Actually, Rifle Cultists' Dark Grenade would make a great way to clear out some of the defenses here, and even some of the defenders, because the range on that Dark Grenade is really good. I didn't really think about it, though. I was just I was trying to keep things simple at this point. I had done this map over and over so many times just to get to this point. I didn't want to screw it up. I wanted to finish the replay. So I relied on the tactic that I knew was going to work, and that was the one that I used in my last replay, and that was massing dragons and taking out defenses, and then going in for the final fight. And it looks like they're just about done here. There's one more air tower for them to contend with, but I think most of the leeches around the outside are... Oh, well, there was one more leech to get a giant worm. Anyway, they got most of the giant leeches, or most of the Twilight Leeches, I should say, and they're taking out the last few towers on the edges there. Now we're just about... I think it's just about time to go in for the final boss. So I've got everybody. I've got my Tempest uprooted. I've got... looks like about 2 of everything. I'm going to send in a Magma Spore for a scout to see what I've got left, and it looks like, yeah, there's only a couple of Twilight Leeches in the back, so I'm okay for teleporting, I think. And there's not very many defending forces left. So I send everybody in, lay down another regrowth spell as soon as the main force comes in. I guess I'm going to have to pull them with my dragons. Yeah, pull them with the dragons, back up a little bit. One of the dragons got... Fortunately, it was only a swamp drag. Got sent into the back by a leech and frozen by a Twilight Horror. But after that, everybody else comes out to the front here. There's my regrowth spell. There's my dragons beating on everybody, and the boss should be coming up shortly. There he is. Don't be shy now. There he is. Okay. He turned around again. He saw my forces coming in, and I think he got scared. And, well, he should be, because he's not going to last very long with this many forces beating on him. And he's down. And that's the end. So that's Siege of Hope completed with only free play-for-free cards. Now, like I said, I did mention at the beginning that the play-for-free does give you most of the full experience of the game, but in actuality, I would not recommend doing the map this way. It's a lot more fun if you have more powerful cards and you can just power through these guys. It took me many tries to get to this point, and, you know, got a little frustrating at times, so I recommend treat yourself to some good cards, do some trading, get yourself a good deck, and then go in there and take on those expert maps. Anyway, I hope you found this replay helpful, and I hope you've enjoyed it.